uh, uh. So, how do I want to start? Well, so I work for I want to say like a Fortune 100 company. It's a pretty big company. They're pretty much all over the world, international. It's a multi conglomerate. They have their fingers in a bunch of stuff. Um, Not always so good, not always so bad. Guess it's like any mega corporation that you would find yourself working for if you were me or one of the millions of other employees. Um, I want to talk about my first experience with disciplinary actions. I want to say I was with the company for like 4.5, 5 months. Um, I guess I should preface I'm in sales, like route truck sales, where you go to the market, you go into the stores, you have a specific set number of stores that are yours in your territory, and you service the stores, you get in and you get out. Um, my first experience with this company as far as disciplinary actions goes, uh, how do I start? I was on the truck. I got to the market. I got off the truck. Um, I had my cart for my product. I can't say what it is. Can't talk about that. That's too personal. They will take action if you give too much specific information. So I get to my first store. It, it's not my route. Like I said, I've only been with the company about 4, maybe 5 months. It's not my route. Um, I'm actually covering it for somebody else who is on vacation. So I'm covering the route for the full week. It's my first day on the route. Try to make a good impression, so I start really early. I start at about 5 in the morning. I get to my first stop at like 5:30 in the morning, and come to find out, the store's closed. I don't know how to fix the store's closed. The store's closed. So I go, I grab my cart, I make my way back to the truck, and I load the product back on the truck with the cart, face it against the wall, secure the product. Um, then I go to close I grab my safety cones. You have to have safety cones in this company, otherwise, if anything happens, it's your fault. Very family oriented company. We care about your safety a lot. But if, you don't have that orange cone out, if a truck slams into you, that orange cone would have been your safety line, you know. So we're not paying your medical, we're not paying any benefits. That's how the company works. So I go to grab, long story short, I grab my orange cone, I get back in the truck, I go to close their swing arm doors, they swing outwards. I go to close this door, I I close the first door, and then I go to close the second door, and before I can actually close it or even get a grip on that door, the wind literally gust of wind comes through and slams the door on my thumb, which I'm still securing the second door as I'm reaching. I'm still securing the first door as I'm reaching to close the second door, and it slams right on my thumb. Um, it happened in a split instant. It was like there's no way to avoid it. There was no way to recoil from it, and I had pretty good reactions. I've got a decent reflex ability, I guess. It's not. I'm not a ninja. I'm not backflipping and throwing ninja stars in the middle of the backflip and catching bullets with my teeth. But that definitely caught me off guard. I don't know how it happened. It was a freak of nature, act of God, even. Um, Long story short, before I opine too much, I was in a lot of pain. It was excruciating. I was in on a scale of 1 to 10. I had to be in 10 plus plus plus. I was like 15, like tears coming down my eyes. I go to open the door, praying to God that my thumb wasn't like gonna just separate when I open the door and the two metal hinges separate. Uh, and thank God it didn't. It just cut me almost down to the bone, like it like sliced through here and just barely missed the bone. But all that meat, all that, all of the flesh, all of the, even the white, what do they call it? Tissue. It was just, it was like hanging on by a little piece of like skin on this side. Like, so this was sliced straight through, all the way, all the way through, and it was just like hanging there, like over here. And I went, and it was pouring blood, gushing blood. I went to like wrap it, and then like look for like a band-aid. There was no band-aid in the truck. There's nothing that I could have done to stop it. So I think I just took off my shirt and like ripped it, like you see in the movies. Wrapped it around my thumb, still in excruciating pain. Called my manager, uh, who at the time was a lady named, I can't give her name, Sonia. Doesn't, not her name, but it's the name I'm giving out. Sonia Peabody. Very, very attractive young black lady, might I say. But being as it may, she is management and she's a shark. They're all sharks, no matter how bubbly they may seem, or friendly, or ditzy. One of the managers kind of ditzy. They're sharks. They work for this corporation that is a non-entity. It is not a living, breathing entity. All it cares about is profit margins and uh, growing their profit margins every year. They're not a family-oriented company. They don't care about your family. They don't care about your health or safety. They don't care about your well-being. So I call my manager and I tell her what happened. I'm trying not to cry, trying to hold on to whatever shred of like dignity, masculinity that I still had, because like it was tears coming down my eyes, and I'm almost got my thumb caught, like literally cut off. And I'm just trying hard not to like bawl on the phone for this lady who I've known for like all of 4 months, and explaining to her what happened. Um, so she says, "Can you finish your day?" Her first question. Uh, it wasn't like, "Oh my God, that's horrible. Let me come out to you to see, let's evaluate this incident and see how serious or severe the injury or the nature of the injury is." It was, "Can you finish your day?" Only after I said, "No, I don't think so. I'm in serious pain here." And I guess like it's my fault for not being more of a wimp, like not just crying and screaming and wailing into the phone when I talked to her, because she was under the impression that I was just like it wasn't as severe as it was, and that I was just playing it up. Uh, so I guess I'm giving her too much credit. She's a shark. She's like, "Can you finish your day?" I said, "No, I don't think I can. I'm in too much pain here." Then she says, "Well, if you can't finish your day, come back to the building, and she says, come back to the building and we can take you to the clinic." Now, I told her, I'm not sure if I can even drive. I am in that much pain, and I'm not too close to the building. I'm a good 8 miles away from the building. I don't, this wouldn't be safe for me and my driving hands to not be able to maneuver the wheel and this big heavy truck, and there's pedestrians and cars. It's just not safe. That's what's going on in my head, and all I can get out is like, I don't think I can. I'm in too much pain. So she says, okay, just stay put. We'll come out and see you. She comes out, does the whole spiel, what happened, this, that, and the other. How did this happen? What were you doing when it happened? Is this your fault? Is this their fault? Whose fault is it? It can't be his fault. We're not going to even think that. Somebody's fault is probably your fault. Whose fault is it? So from there, we're doing the little inquisition. She's trying to find out, and I'm just telling her what happened. And the story goes like this. I said a lot to say this. I was grabbing the door, and the wind literally gusted the door. There's trucks driving by on the side of the road, which literally the concussion wave from the trucks will push up against your truck, and it's science. Long story short, like the truck will rock because that's what trucks do when another truck or car is whizzing by you, and that coupled with the wind gusting, the door shut, it literally, there was nothing I could have done. She looked at me and was like, she didn't say it, but she gave me the look like, you probably did something. And I didn't know how to take that. I was just like, I was in too much pain to even give a damn how she was like side-eyeing me at the time. And so she took me to the clinic. She literally drove me to the clinic. The clinic, it's a trash clinic. It's the kind of clinic that a mega corporation would collaborate with so that they can get their employees back to work. Lickety split. Get back to work. Keep making us money. Get back out there. Go. Shoot. It's the kind of clinic where they literally have the corporation's best interest at hand. Gunshot wound, take some ibuprofen, get back out there. Stab wound, take some ibuprofen, get back out there. Oh, your thumb's hanging off by a thread, take some ibuprofen, get back out there. That's literally what my experience was. I went into the clinic, I sat there for about 30 minutes in agonizing pain. I saw this doctor who, he kind of looks like the guy from Scrubs, the white doctor. You know, the jerk, the asshole doctor who's always, undermining people and belittling people, but he does it in a comical, friendly, loving type of way. This guy was all that minus the fun. He was just a dick. So he asked me what happened. I was like, well, the door slammed on my hand. I'm lucky I still got my thumb. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if I'm going to be scarred for the rest of my life. Am I even going to have a thumb? Thumbs don't grow back. Like, I don't know if thumb meat grows back on a 30-year-old. Like, I know after a certain point, you get a scab, it's there for life. When you're a kid, you get a scab. You can pick at it, put mud on it, spit on it. The scab's gone in 3 weeks, and you got a fresh coat of fucking black butter. And then I'm an old ass man at this point. I'm like 30, and I'm just worried that I'm gonna be deformed on my hand for the rest of my life, and I'm in excruciating pain. And the doctor's like, he takes a look at it and says, "Well, it could be worse." That's not all he said. He was being a dick before that, but that's the part that I remember. He couldn't be worse, and I was like, "You're right." So he said, on a scale of 1 to 10, how bad are you? And I was telling him, like, I'm probably 12, 13, 14, 15. I don't know. It's taken everything I got not to just break down right here. And it really was, but the toxic masculinity that goes on in circles, like literally being a black man, I'm not allowed to cry. I'm not allowed to show pain or fear. And I'm definitely not going to do none of that shit in front of these Anglo strangers. I don't care how it's not misogynistic, pseudo-racist, whatever you want to reverse race. I don't care how that sounds. I'm not going to be tearing up in front of fucking doctor clinic boy and management in a room full of other people. So he takes me back to the waiting room where I then proceed to wait for him. He goes off and does his little thing. I don't know what he does. He comes back 30 minutes later, and he says, "Let me see it." So he holds my hand and starts poking and pinching and prodding my thumb. I'm telling him this is excruciating pain. And he says, well, we're not going to give you any narcotics. Now, my mind's like, I don't know what that means. I'm not asking for narcotics. He says, well, it should be fine. And then I ask him like a cynic, like not even a cynic, like somebody who should, should, from the power dynamic from where I am and where he's at, I probably shouldn't be asking him these questions from his point of view. Shouldn't be asking the questions. I'm the doctor. I tell you what it is. That's his point of view. My point of view is, are you doing everything you can to help me? He says, I'm not going to give you any narcotics. And then I say, okay. Then I say, is it broken or something? Do you want to take some x-rays? He literally says, no, we don't need any x-rays. I'm like, well, how do you know the extent of the damage? He says, if it was broken, you'd be screaming. I'm like, I just told you I'm doing everything I can not to scream. I'm in pain. I am in serious pain. He says, well, I don't know what to do. And I'm like, well, I'm thinking, you're not Superman. You can't just look at my thumb and squeeze it. And because I don't start screaming for bloody murder, doesn't mean I'm not in pain. But that's where his mindset was. And I would later come to realize that's just racism. That's just white people being racist. That's just, white people being white people. That's white power structures. That's doctors just being who they are. They typically don't believe black people when they say they're in pain. I literally come to find out this later, after delving into several different books and reading so many different topics on the issue of racism in America and systemic racism. I would learn later that I was just being profiled as some black guy who wanted some drugs. I'd learned that later. At the time, I was just in pain, asking for a doctor to help me out. He said, after about 30 minutes of me saying, well, we need to do something. You got to check. You got to look into it. You got to do this. He's like, well, I'm the doctor here. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to give you some ibuprofen. And then you're going to come back in 2 days. And we're going to go from there. That's what he did. He wrote me a prescription for ibuprofen. And on the way out, it occurred to me, the last time I had any injury, I can't recall what the injury is right now, which is weird because I have a really good memory, but I can't recall what the injury was, but I know that ibuprofen messes with my stomach. Like, it does something to my stomach where when I eat, it's like it gives me it hurts. It's painful for my stomach. And I'll be like, I'm going to be in 2 types of pain if this is what you're prescribing me. Is there anything else you can prescribe me? He said, again, I'm not giving you narcotics. And I said, I'm not asking for narcotics. I'm asking for anything else because my body won't allow me to metabolize this. It'll sit there in my stomach and I'm going to be in pain. That's what I tell him. He says, well, that's what I'm giving you today. Come back in 2 days and we'll go from there. And then he just walks out there and just leaves. Dismissive, rude, kind of abrasive, very dickish. I noticed, that's the word I'm going to come back to later. Very, very dickish. So, I take my prescription for ibuprofen and I look at it and it says 400 milligrams. Take 2 to 3 times a day. I'm thinking, that can't be right. That's what I'm thinking. And I'm thinking, isn't the maximum 1,200 milligrams? So he wants me to take a full day's, I guess. Well, that's weird. I'm not going to take it. I can't take it. I get home, I fucking take it. I'm in pain, severe pain. I take, I think 1.5, and I eat dinner, I take it with food, and I'm in pain. Stomach starts acting up. I'm in pain. And then I go back to work the next day, and then my the top boss. This is this is 4 months after I started, so there's been three top bosses at this company, and this is back in the beginning when I started my career here. The top boss said, "Hey, let me see your hand," uh, and then I show him my fucking thumb flap, like, and it's just wrapped. It's like I just wrapped it, or they wrapped it there at the clinic, and he's like, "Let me see it. Can you take the wrapping off?" I was like, "I don't know if I want to do that." And he's like, "Yeah, let me do it. Just let me see it. Let me see." It's like he's trying to he's pushing, and it's not. I don't want to say convincing. It's somewhat intimidating for his power dynamic compared to where I was. So I take off the thumb wrap. He starts taking pictures of it with his cell phone, and I'm thinking that's really weird. I wonder why he would take pictures of my thumb. The doctor at the clinic didn't even take pictures of my thumb. And I was like, huh, that's weird. Anyway, I go into his office. He asks me what happened. I told him the same story. I'm like, the wind gusted the door. The truck was rocking already because there's cars coming, and these truck shocks, and they're old vehicles. The trucks are literally from the 70s and 80s. These trucks are like the first generation. I can't give you the name of the truck. I was about to give it away. They are stallions. They are abuse stallions. It's not the name. Close enough. Similarity and whatnot. They're abuse stallions. And so I just told him what happened, and he said, "Oh, okay, yeah, that's fine. Okay, you can go out there now. One of the staff members will give you something to do." So I go out there, and they're like, "Oh yeah, well, you just sit here, and then let me know if you need some more." Okay, so I just sat around for the first day. The second day, I go back to the clinic, and I see Dr. House again, or Dr. whatever his name was. I don't even know if he's a doctor. Never seen his certificate, never seen his doctorate, never seen his degree. He sees me again, takes off the bandage, and the bandage isn't like covering it. It's just like a thin. It's not like you would imagine a cast over someone's like amputated stump. That's not what it was at all. It was like like a finger splint with one like little wrap around the top, but everything else was exposed because they said that it would heal better if it was exposed to air and bacteria and shit. That's what they said. So I'm just going by what they say. So we go to the clinic for the second day. He unwraps my finger, looks at it, says it looks better. Like, not to me. My finger's still mangled meat right now. And then I tell him, "Look, I'm having stomach issues. I can't take that. I've been in serious pain. I took it the first night, didn't take it the second night. We're on the third day here. I can't take that. I'm not going to be able to take that." And I told him I couldn't take it. So he says again, "Well, we're not going to prescribe you narcotics." Now, he's got a big thing with narcotics. I've never even heard prescription painkillers referred to as narcotics up until that point. I've always heard them referred to as painkillers or muscle relaxers or some type of something like that. But narcotics to me is like heroin and mescaline, etc., etc. Like, and I was telling him like, "Well, look, I can't do this, man. I'm in too much pain." So he literally leaves out the room and goes and gets me another more powerful version of ibuprofen. This time it's at 800 milligrams on it. Excuse me. 800 milligrams. And I checked the usage. The prescription usage label. It literally says take 2 to 3 pills 2 times a day. 2 to 3 times a day. And this one was like, it's alarming to me. And I was like, something's fucking wrong here. 2 to 3 pills No, two pills 3 times a day. So it's 800 milligrams a pill. That's 1600 milligrams 3 times a day. I'm thinking something's definitely wrong. I'm gonna go see my own personal health care physician. I gotta see my own fucking doctor. Gotta do it. Should have done it on the first day. This is like the third day or whatever. And I'm going to Dr. House here twice, who literally is just rude and passive aggressive to a T. Like he learned how to be passive aggressive. I'm imagining from his mother towards his father and him, lack of love, pushing him towards medical field, and I'm just gonna try to fucking junior analyze this bastard. But so I literally, we leave there. The doctor says by the end of the week you should be able to go back to work. By the end of the week, you should be well enough to return back to work. Come back on Friday morning at 6 in the morning, and you can probably leave here by 7, and you can start your route, and you'll be fine. Full duty, ready to go back to work. Full duty. We're required to like lift 80 pounds at a time. We have a hand cart with our product in boxes, and it's stacked up 10 high, 2 rows of 10 high, that's 20. And when you're coming down off the truck, you're jostling your shoulder. You're using your whole body when you're working at this company. Using your whole body, whether you're in the warehouse or you're in the sales department or sales team. You're using your whole body, and you need to be 100%. This doctor said you're good to go by Friday. And he literally said that on, a Wednesday? Not knowing how I'd be by Friday, not knowing if he just assumed, like, he still was telling me that I was good, and the whole time, going back to the first day, I was telling him I'm in excruciating pain. He just didn't give a damn. He didn't care. He's a company man. So, I went to my own doctor. My doctor literally said, we're going to give you some type of pain pill. I don't remember the name of it. He said, we're only going to give you 10 because we don't want you to abuse it. And everyone's looking at that. We don't want you to abuse it. Yeah, I get my thumb sliced off. I can't wait to go to get some drugs. No, I didn't. It's just so much pseudo, right? It's like subconscious and subliminal racism on, it's like a pizza. It's like a Chicago deep dish pizza. You're looking at it like, that shit's on the top. And then you get to layer 3 and you're like, there's more? So I take this shit, I go home, I take one, I pass out, I have dinner, of course, I take it with a meal. I don't know if I can put myself out there like a narcotic user. So I take it with a meal, I go home, I pass out, I wake up, it's Thursday, I was supposed to be in at 7, they texted me, we need you in at 7. So I actually arrived at 7:25. I was late. I was pretty late. And I told him, well, I stayed at my mom's house that night. We went to my doctor, and he prescribed me some pain pill. And then I said, he prescribed me something for my pain, some medication for my pain. I didn't say pain pills, but I always try to class some stuff up. But that's when the top boss and the junior top boss, I don't want to give their names, but I do want to give some type of information. One of them was a super ginger, and he had a face like, he looked like that guy he looked like T-2000. What's that guy's name? I don't know. He looked like T-2000, but like with red hair, and he gave a creepy smile, and he gave, like, his vibe checks, man. He failed all those vibe checks. He fucking failed those things. So it was him and the top boss and the mid-level manager, and they kind of just sat me down, and they're like, so what happened? I told them, look, I was late. I went to my own doctor, and then the feeling in the room, just everybody just kind of stared at me. You went to your own doctor? I said, yeah, the clinic guy, he he really doesn't have my best interest at hand. He told me he's not going to give me an x-ray, and I'm like just begging for them to understand the humanity and why I would want to go to my own doctor. Plus, I don't have to beg anybody. Like I can go to my own doctor if I want. But these guys, like, I just started this company, and these are very racially charged times. Barack Obama is in office. White people are acting a fool in the streets and public and businesses and companies. White people are going ham. They're throwing fucking feces out of their cars. They're running up on Puerto Rican people in the park, screaming, "Go back to your country, you're not American." Like, you gotta be tempered when you're black in this kind of situation. So I'm just talking about, I'm explaining why I'm late, because I'm thinking that's the issue that they're having. Quickly, it turns from "you're late for this write-up," I come to find out it's a write-up, to "why are you going to your own doctor?" "Oh, you went to your own doctor? You're not supposed to go to your own doctor." And I literally said, "Wait, are you telling me that I'm not allowed to see my own personal doctor?" Because I'm stupid, but I know that is a red flag, and I would call like a lawyer. They said, "No, you can go to your own doctor," because they didn't want to be caught saying, like, they didn't want to be trapped in that hallway, because that's a bad hallway to be trapped. But they literally were like vibing me, like, "You're not supposed to go to your doctor. Why are you going to your doctor? What do you think your doctor's going to say?" Like, they're talking to me like a petulant, retarded dog. Like, "Why are you going to your doctor?" Because he's my doctor, and I want a second opinion on what this clinic quack says." Can't say that. Want to say that, but so that's they literally just told me, "We're gonna go with whatever he says, and that's it. Also, we're giving you a write-up. So sign this piece of document, or we're firing you." That's what the top level manager said. That's what the middle level manager said. That's what the second top level manager said. They're all like, "Yeah, you have to sign this write-up, we're going to fire you." And then they go on to explain that, well, we did an investigation for 3 days, and we come to find out that you were rushing. So it was entirely your fault that the door slammed on your hand. And at the end of our investigation, we just found that you were rushing and you were being unsafe. And we are a family and a safety-oriented company. We want to keep our safety incidents down. And you haven't even met the 6-month provisional requirements. So we can fire you right now. Or literally, if you don't want to sign the write-up, that's fine. But you haven't met your 6-month provisional hiree requirements, and you've already had an injury. So we can fire you right now, or you can sign this write-up. And we're gonna like look the other way. He said something like that, and red alarms are going up. Like, if I did something worth being fired, you can't like negotiate with a firing. You can't just say, "Well, you raped that lady, but give me $5. Look the other way. You raped that lady, but just sign this piece of paper, and we'll see what we can do." But that's what was said to me, and I, like a naive, hopeful, trying to keep this good job that I've been trying to get. I literally was trying to get this job for about 1.5 years, about almost 2 years. I was trying to get this job. I had applied 3 times to this job. Finally got called in after different set of circumstances. I'll get into it in another video. But I got called in, and I'd been there about 4 months, and the guy says that you hadn't met your 6-month requirement. Later on, that next week, I remember talking to one of the old timers who had taken a shine to me. I don't want to give his name away either. He told me, like, "What are you talking about, 6 months? Didn't you read the thingy? It's 90 days. It's 3 months." And I was like, "You know what? Yeah, I do remember that." But I was in the middle of a meeting with all these bigwigs, these like 3 levels of management, all 3 staring at me, mad at me that I even went to my own doctor. And like, I don't want to talk back in that situation. I don't want to give them the impression that I'm a boat-rocking rebel rouser and that I'm here to bring lawsuits against the company and, try to, get milk money from it and go on disability. I'm not trying to do that. I'm here to work. I want to do a good job. And he was like, yeah, man, they got you. It's an old timer. He'd been there 35, 40 years. He'd been there longer than I've been alive. And let's just put it that way. And he told me that they got you and that they said that. They were talking fast and you were just nodding. And yes, bossa, I'll sign the bossa. Oh, yes, please let me keep my job, bossa. And that's where they got you at. They caught you. And I realized when I got home, yeah, they caught me in that slave brain mentality. I mean, if they had had anything they could have fired me over, they would have. They like firing brown folk. They like having a steady turnover rate. I don't know how or why, but it looks good on their pie charts. We hired 30 people this quarter. We trained them. They're out there in the market. We're doing good. That's somehow the turnover is good. Don't know how it works. I'm not corporate, but that was my first experience as in getting a disciplinary action at this corporation. So a couple caveats. After that week, for the next several weeks, actually, I was back full duty, broken still, in pain, but couldn't even take my own pain medicine, on the fear that if I did get into an accident, that they would drug test me again, because that's the first thing to do. They drug test you, take your clinic drugs. On the fear that they would drug test me again, and they would find this narcotic in my system that I got prescribed from my own personal doctor, but they're going with whatever the clinic person says. So I was afraid to even take my own personally prescribed medicine for the pain that I was in. Reoccurring injury. There's a saying, sticks out like a sore thumb. Try having your thumb split open and you're working 10, because I'm still a rookie. I'm working 10, 11, 12 hours a day, pushing hard, working hard, trying to impress people like a fat chick giving head. They're trying to impress. They're not doing it for them. They know how they look. They know. I was out there working like that. Shit fucking foul. I was out there working like that. And just trying to impress, in pain the whole time. And over the course of the next few weeks, like I was saying, I was taking videos of all the trucks I was in, because every week I'm on another route. Sometimes 2-3 times in a week I'm on another route, another truck to inspect, to take videos. And I took about 10 to 15, 20, maybe 20 videos of me just standing in the truck, at the far end of the truck, right behind the driver's cabin, videotaping the swing arm doors. And I had so much footage of the doors, literally just the wind slamming the doors closed and the truck rocking back and forth. Literally videos on every single truck. The exact same thing happened. And they investigated for 3 days and found out I was rushing. My rushing caused the wind to slam on my thumb. That's what they told me. And I wanted to contact a lawyer so bad right then and there, after I had enough evidence to say that, hey, they lied to me during the write-up. They tricked me into writing it. They coerced me into writing it up, which just seems fraudulent and discriminatory in so many different ways. I can go into power dynamics I've already touched on. I'm not going to go, but it just seems so wrong, and it seems illegal, criminal even. And then the fact of the matter is, they have to write up somebody. There was an incident. Now, the mechanic who's in charge of keeping the fleet safety and readiness, the fleet of trucks safety and readiness, it's an old white guy, been there 40 years. He's a good guy. His name, I don't want to give his name. He's a good guy. He actually helped me when my car broke down. He's like, I got another buddy mechanic. Go to him, tell him Boo Boo sent you, his name, whatever. So he's a good guy, funny guy, charismatic guy, white guy. And therein lies the problem. Got this young brother, started a company, and the company's full of white folks. We know how they treat us. So you can give the old white guy the write-up for not properly installing the proper safety measures on the truck, which they later did, about a year later. So you can either give the young black guy a write-up, or you can give the old white guy a write-up, or fire the old white guy. They're not firing an old white guy. Not for a young black guy. Not in 2020, not in 2021, not in 2030, not in 1930, not in 1950. That's never going to happen. Not in white America. They're not firing a single white hair on his single white head. They're not firing him. They're not writing him up. But what they did do eventually, after that incident happened to a couple more people, is they had him install, which they had this on certain trucks, they had him install across the fleet a rubber ball and stopper on all the trucks, on the swing arm, on the door. So the swing arm has the ball or the stopper, and the outside of the truck wall has the ball or the stopper. So when the door opens, it swings and catches, and then the door's stuck there. And it takes a considerable amount of force to remove that door. The wind's not slamming that door shut. On the videos I took, I was specifically taking videos of the trucks that did have the rubber ball and socket joint, and the trucks that didn't have the rubber ball and socket joint. And it was more than half the trucks that didn't have it. And it couldn't be more than a $10 solution on each truck. And let's say you have 100 trucks that need to be outfitted, that's $1,000. Could have avoided that whole clinic. How much are they paying the clinic, and how much is the clinic doing kickbacks? The system is just corrupt. But I want to say, like, they eventually fixed the problem. After they threatened to fire me, probably threatened to fire the other people who were hurt, and that it just seems so racially divisive and immoral. It just seems so wrong. Humanitarian is like, on a human level, how do you tell someone who is in pain, can't take pain medicine? It's their fault. They were rushing. That's why God made the wind blow. And that's why the truck was rocking based on the other cars. And that's why the door slammed. It's your fault. Sign this write-up, or we're firing your black ass. Because we're not firing that one white guy who's just too lazy to attach the... He's in charge of safety of the fleet, the truck readiness. It's his job to make sure the tires are on the truck, there's oil and fluids, that the rotators and this and that, there's windshield wiping fluids, and that the windshield wipers work, so you get caught in a rainstorm, you're not blind out there. It's his job to make sure the trucks are ready, and they decided to just be super racist. And that would go on to be my first of many experiences in this company that I feel are just so bullshit. Like, just palpably bullshit. Like, you can taste the fucking cow grass in that. That's definitely Carolina grass right there. Like, that's bullshit. And that was my first experience with corporate bullshit at this company. I talk too much.